Okay, the dilemma over whether to send your kids back to class or keep them at home for online learning, it's been difficult for so many families. But what happens if parents who are separated disagree about sending their kids back to school? Well, one lawyer says family courts have been inundated with requests for emergency hearings the last few weeks over this very issue. But a recent ruling could set a precedent as to who will win the fight when it comes to the debate around in-class versus online schooling. City News reporter Janella Massa joins us live now. You've been tracking this story. You're outside of Wilkinson Junior Public School. Janella, I was just having this very conversation with a friend in this scenario. What are you learning?
Yeah, we're just next door at the high school here, Melanie. And, you know, obviously people have responded to the pandemic very differently. Some people take it more seriously than others, and it can be a problem if you don't share the same views as your ex-spouse and you have kids together. Well, a family lawyer I spoke with says he has seen what he calls an avalanche of requests for emergency motions, asking the courts to basically decide who is right in this debate. But he says a recent court ruling means that if you're the parent on the side of online learning, hoping to keep the kids at home, well, you're not likely to win that fight.
Justice Hamill's decision ends up siding with the position that the courts should not be intervening in the government's decision to reopen schools or doubt that decision. The main question becomes, is the child has medical condition or serious reasons of why not to attend physically in school, and or are there any family members who have health issues or concerns, and that has to be brought before the court. Absent serious reasons of why not, the child would be expected to go back to school in a physical setting.
So as you heard there, unless you have specific reasons like a health issue, a child who's immunocompromised, or a family member who would be at risk because of that child's exposure to more people, he says really save your money in court fees because you have a pretty good chance of knowing who is going to win if you take that case to court. Melanie.
And Janella, beyond school, obviously that is a hot topic right now. This pandemic has created so many different let's say conflicts when it comes to where a child will go, when, where, the bubbles, what that all looks like. So do you have more insight there?
Yeah, when it came to shared custody, they also saw at the beginning of this pandemic in March and April when the schools first closed, again, they saw an influx of requests for emergency motions from parents looking for rulings. So, for example, they were afraid to have their kids go from house to house, and they wanted to keep them in one place during the pandemic. In that case, in those cases, rather, the court basically took the position that despite a pandemic, a parent still has a right to see their child, so those shared custody plans should continue. However, Shulman, the lawyer, did say that there is room for flexibility and compromise, and really that is what he recommends. That is always the best case during a pandemic or not, for separated families to communicate, to compromise, and if they have to, bring in lawyers, then mediation is the best route as opposed to going to court.
Yeah, a lot to consider here. Janella, thank you. Your full report, citynews.ca and City News at 5 at 6. And also, I'm so glad you got the trench coat memo because, yes, same.
I'm wearing a sweater. Thanks so much, Mel.
Layers, Janella. All right.